expired. Mr. Chaffetz from Utah.
Thank you, and thank you, Secretary Paulson, for being here. I appreciate it. When this country experienced Enron, there was outrage from coast to coast, people who were not informed about the material things that were happening and not happening within that company, because the shareholders were left in the dark. My concern is the lack of transparency to the shareholders and to the public at large, not only as investors, but as investors, as shareholders, if you will, as being taxpayers in this country. So the question that I want to follow up on Mr. Jordan's question, a little deeper into why you did not share this information with other regulatory agencies, for instance, the SEC. Why didn't you feel compelled to share information with them?
First of all, we were working with the regulators that were involved with putting the financial assistance together. That was the effort. The responsibility, it is not a Treasury Secretary's job to get between a company and its and the SEC, for instance, looking at disclosure. I've been around long enough to know these are critically important decisions, and that's the responsibility of a CEO working with his general counsel and with the regulator. That's not.
But you were a participant on the Financial Stability Oversight Board. I mean, one of the requirements with TARP was that the Financial Stability Oversight Board, in which you had 2 meetings, and you did not inform the SEC, nor did you inform the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. Why is that?
Well, let me be, because I take exception with that. After a January 8th meeting of the Financial Stability Board, I sat down with Chairman Chris Cox and I explained to him, it was still early, we didn't have the package together, but we were working on it, and I gave him the details of to the extent we knew them at that time. So on January,
I mean, this thing was fully baked at that point. That was pretty late in the game. Let me go back to what.
No, this was not.
Pardon me. Let me go back to what Attorney General Andrew Cuomo said. Quote, that he told Congress in his April 23rd letter that Hank Paulson, quote, informed this office that he did not keep the SEC chairman in the loop during the discussions and negotiations with the Bank of America in December 2008. Is that true or not true?
Well, what Attorney General Cuomo's office was talking about was said, the question was in December. I also explained to the Attorney General in January, is the Attorney
General's statement true or not true? I'll read it to you again. Quote, informed this office that he did not keep the SEC chairman in the loop during the discussions and negotiations with the Bank of America in December 2008.
In December, I did not. That's absolutely correct.
And you feel no obligation. The one agency that is out there as an advocate for the shareholders, you didn't think that was an important effort on your part, or you didn't feel any obligation to share with the SEC or other regulatory agencies?
Again,
even the one within your own agency, the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency.
I would, again, let me say 2 things to make it separate, because you've blurred 2 things. First of all, with regard to the relationship of Bank of America to the SEC, that is something that is not my responsibility. It's not the responsibility of the Fed. That's the role of Bank of America to work with the SEC.
But the Congress did
with the Financial Stability Oversight Board, because this has come up now several times.
Right.
We did not begin to have this together until we brought it to the Financial Stability Board, and there was a full and thorough airing there.
But when was that? Was so far after these deals were already cut.
These deals were not cut. These deals were not cut. That's where there's a misunderstanding. There was an understanding that we were going to work to get something done, but we had nothing specific to bring forward. And the other point I made was on January 8th, in his role as a member of the Financial Stability Oversight Board, I gave Chris Cox a briefing.
I think, Mr. Chairman, what needs to be explored further is that I wasn't here. I'm a freshman. You wouldn't have wanted me here because I would have voted against this TARP. I think it's an absolute disaster. But I got to tell you that I think this Congress, or the Congress before this, did set up this Financial Stability Oversight Board to precisely make sure there wasn't this audacity of arrogance that there would be held in just one or two persons' hands, and that there would be more involvement from other agencies that are very relevant, and to exclude the one agency that is shared and that is tasked with taking care of shareholders, I think is inexcusable, and I think we need to dive into further. I see that my time's expired. Thank you, Mr. Paulson, and thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. And now you